I am Bob, Ruth's oldest son, and I wanted to share a few stories. But first, again, I wanted to reiterate that we're really here to, although we do have some sadness and miss her presence, we're really here to show appreciation and share some laughter. That's really the way Ruth would have wanted her service to be. So I have a few stories to share, and I'll make it short, like Ruth. We all agree Ruth was a good mom, intelligent, capable, good sense of humor. And the four of us children are like that too, which is no coincidence. She learned it from us. When Ruth and Ed were first parents when I was born, they were pretty inexperienced, and I had to break them in. And I taught them what I could. Jim came along, taught them more. And then Tom, he polished them up a little bit. By the time Nancy was born, she was fully trained. So Nancy had it easy. And growing up with Ruth, sometimes we had some adventures. When Jim and I were little kids, she'd take us to Slater Park all the time, even in the winter. Our father would tell her, "You don't watch them close enough." But, she let us run wild. So anyway, one day we're at Slater Park, and I saw a bridge over some water. And I thought, instead of going straight up the middle of the bridge, I think I'm going to go off the side, hold on to the railing, and see if I can make it across. Well, as you probably know, I didn't make it across. Fell in the water with my winter coat and all. And I remember seeing, bubbles flowing out from my mouth. So anyway, Ruth fished me out of there and took Jim and I, headed back home. When we were almost there, she said to us, "Don't say a word of this to your father." "Okay, Mom." So she got to the home, and she was trying to figure out, how to get in there and without Ed noticing. And little Jimmy ran right in there. Daddy, guess what? Bobby fell in the water." So the next story I'm going to tell you, Ruth has told me dozens of times. Lately she was losing her memory, and she repeated a lot of stories. She thought this story was funny now, although I don't know if she felt that way many decades before. So Ruth was going to the laundromat, and she brought little Jimmy along. Of course, Jimmy was bored in the laundromat. He wanted to go next door to go look at toys. So Ruth took him next door, went in the department store, went over to the toy section, and said to him, "Now you stay right here and wait till I come and get you. Do you understand?" "Yes, Mom." She went back to the laundromat, did her washing laundry and dried it all off, and went back home. When she got home, she said, "Where's my Jimmy?" And went right back to the department store, went right back to the toy section, and there was Jimmy. "Where were you, Mom?" So, parents make mistakes, even though we've trained them as much as we could. There is one mistake Ruth made a lot, pretty much every day. Her mistake was called cooking. Ruth was good at lots of things, but cooking wasn't one of them. You probably, those of you who've seen the pictures of us in there growing up, we were skinny, real skinny. And you've probably heard of blackened fish. Well, Ruth heard of blackened everything. And, she was a nurse, as Nancy will discuss. So, she knew there were germs in that food, and she wanted to cook it really well and cook it some more. And, sometimes I wonder if, for the grandchildren, if Mark Bushy might have seen my mother cooking and seen all the smoke and said, "Gee, I should become a fireman and save my grandma." So anyway, If it weren't for Ruth Opaluch, I might be still sitting at the bottom of the pond in Slater Park. Jim might still be in the toy aisle. And maybe Mark might have not gone to become a fireman. So I guess what I would say is Ruth is a great mom. She was a great grandmother. And she was a great great-grandmother 6 times over. Nancy?